Welcome back. We're going to continue on this section about transformations with lesson 1.2 on spinning, flipping, and sliding, naming transformations. In this lesson, we want to make sure that we know the difference between translations, reflections, and rotations. In this lesson, we'll be working through the Desmos activity completed in class, and this recording should help students who were absent to understand the main ideas of our in-class exploration and discussion. In class, we started by playing a game. It was really fun to practice describing figures and how they move. So I'm going to demonstrate that game, and even though you can't play if you're just watching the recording, we'll probably play it again during this unit sometime. So I want to make sure you know how to play. So let me demonstrate how this game would go. My partner, who has signed in the classroom, but I don't even know who my partner is really, has selected one of these tiles as the goal. I need to find out which tile that person chose. So I'm going to ask some questions. Let me get into full screen here. I'm going to ask some questions to see which tile it might have been. So as I'm looking at all of these tiles, I can see that some of them show a figure being flipped over. Some of them show a tile or a figure that's being slid. Some of them show a tile that has turned somehow. Let me find a good turning one. This one down here shows that, it pivots on this little point right here, so it turns. So I'm going to start by asking a yes or no question about what kind of transformation it is. I'm going to ask, is there a slide? Now my partner can answer yes, no, or I'm not sure, like I'm not sure what you mean. So let's see what my partner has to say. And you can see the answer right here. My partner said, yes, there is a slide. So for any of these tiles that do show any kind of slide, then it might be that one, but I can cross off anything else. So as I'm looking at this first tile, I see a flip, but not a slide. I'm going to cross that one out. This next one, I see a slide, so I'm going to leave it. This next one, I see a flip, not a slide, so I'm going to eliminate that. This one, I see a turn. Nope, I take that back. I see a flip, like it's flipped. There's a mirror in between these two things right here, but it's not a slide. This one, I need to think about because it looks like this blue figure turned a little bit and then slid up. So it does have a slide. So technically, according to my partner's answer, there is a slide in that movement, but there's another thing as well. So I'm going to leave this one. So there might be more than one transformation. I'm going to keep going here. This one looks like it might be a flip and there maybe a rotation and a slide. I'm going to leave this one. These can get tricky. This might have a slide in it. I know this one has a slide. So I'm just going to go through and get rid of the ones that don't show any slide at all. This one looks like a flip. This one looks like a rotation, rotation, rotation. This one looks like it has a slide. That has a slide. That might have a slide. Okay, so I eliminated all of those, and I need to keep asking questions to narrow it down some more. I'll go a little bit more quickly. I'm going to ask, is it only a slide? If it has more than one transformation, then I need to know that. Okay, that's helpful. I asked, is it only a slide? And the partner said, yes. So if there's anything more than just a slide happening, I can get rid of it. This one's just a slide. This one has a turn. This one has a flip or something. That's more than one thing. This one's just a slide. This one's just a slide. This one's more. That's just a slide. And that has more than one thing going on. All right, so that really helped. So I need to continue asking yes or no questions, but you get the idea. I'm just going to keep playing this out so you can see what the final answer is in case you're dying to know. I ask, is it diagonal? My partner said, no, it's not diagonal. Okay, well then it can't be this one and it can't be that one. And I'll finish by saying, I want to know, is it up and down or is it left and right? But I can only ask yes and no questions. They said, no, it's not up and down, so it can't be this one. It must be this last one. So I eliminated that one. Nice work, just 4 questions. So that's how the game goes. We're going to leave the game and return to the lesson. Now, it says here are some words that you may have seen in the polygraph activity. And we're going to group words together that have similar meanings. We might have used words like turn and slide and spin and flip and mirror. But the words that we really want to start using are these in the colored boxes. These are the more formal vocabulary words that I'm expecting you to use in this unit. So let's look for words that really mean rotate. Well, if I'm rotating something, I'm spinning it. And look for one more word that means rotate. Let's try turn. Move that over here. Think about reflect. What does it mean to reflect something? Which of these words that are left mean reflect? Well, a reflection happens in a mirror, so we could say that. And when we flip something over so that it's facing the opposite direction, that's reflection. Which just leaves one thing for translating, sliding. Sneak it in there. So instead of these more informal words, we're going to get used to saying rotate, reflect, and translate. In fact, we'll probably try that polygraph activity again, but I'll suggest that you just use those words instead of these more informal words. Let's do the same thing again. Except this time we'll do it with the same kinds of shapes that we saw in that polygraph activity. I'm a little fussy about how things look on the page, so I'm going to put my main words up here. Translation, reflection, and rotation. So I'm going to start with anything that just shows a translation. I think this is the one that was actually the polygraph example. Translating or just sliding, but we're going to say translate. This looks like a translation, kind of a diagonal one. Switch that over. Let's find any that are reflections. Remember, that's when it kind of faces the other direction. Okay, these bunnies, I think they look like bunnies. These bunnies look like they're facing each other. I think that's the bunny nose right there, and those are the bunny ears. Going back. Okay, so this is a reflection. And it might not seem it, but this is also a reflection. Imagine like a mirror coming down at this diagonal so that it's facing the opposite direction. Okay. This isn't really a turn so much because it flips into the opposite direction. This is a reflection. Now, for rotations, there should be some point where there's like a pivot. I don't know why it's asking me to hide that. Hide it. And right there on this corner of the figure, I would have taken the blue one and pivoted on that corner to turn it around so that the little nose was facing down. And this figure over here, if I took that spot right there where the noses touch and pivoted the blue figure and spun it around, it would become the white figure. So those are examples of translations, reflections, and rotations. So let's try this one more time. Pick a card and describe how to move the blue polygon to the white one. Let's just choose this one in the upper left. And to me, that looks like a translation where I'm just sliding it because it hasn't flipped around to face the other direction. It's not a reflection. And I haven't like pivoted it and turned it, like I haven't nailed down this little blue bunny nose and pivoted on that point. It's just been slid without changing really direction. So the blue figure is translated. I'm going to capitalize translated. That's one of the 3 words we're going to be focusing on. The blue figure is translated up and to the right. Ta-da. And one more. What type of move takes the blue polygon to the white polygon? Well, let's ask ourselves these 3 questions. Is it a reflection? Do I have this figure just kind of in a mirror facing the other way? Not exactly, because if this blue figure looked in a mirror that was, you know, like coming right down the middle here, it's hard to draw there, right down the middle there, that's not a mirror image on the other side of this line. But on the other hand, if I took it and I pivoted and nailed down so that this point didn't move, but all the other ones kind of rotated around, then it would pivot to become the white thing. And it's not a translation, I'm not just sliding it over. So this one's a rotation. And I can say the blue figure pivots on the point shown. I'm going to say pivots 180 degrees. All right. So the point of this lesson was to make sure that you knew the difference between 3 important words: translations, rotations, and reflections. Moving forward in our lessons, we're going to focus on those words instead of the more informal language. So in this lesson, we had to know the difference between translations, reflections, and rotations. In Schoology, you can find a link to the notes for this lesson and directions for completing extra practice.